Hello everyone, it's Tuesday here at the Drive-In and I'm your host Brian Ju. I feel very jolly today because the new theme jingle in the beginning makes me feel very happy. And today marks one more week till Christmas, or 6 days until Christmas Eve. So I hope you guys are ready for that with all your Christmas gifts and all your jolly attitude for all your friends and family around you. And the weather this week isn't that cold, so I'm pretty sure we can expect a white Christmas, which I'm hoping for. And I've had a white Christmas a few times here in South Korea, and it's really beautiful when you spend the holidays with your loved ones on a day where it's supposed to snow, you know? I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know. Yes, I hope you guys have a very, very merry and white Christmas. But remember, y'all, it's gonna get cold outside, so remember to, make sure you water your pipes a little bit. Like, have your faucet running a little bit each day because what happens here in Korea is sometimes the pipes will freeze and burst. Mine have done that before in the past. They didn't burst, but they have frozen, so I can do laundry or dishes for a long time. So be careful with that. And today we'll start today's show with something a little bit more funky from the film Muppets from Space, which was released in 1999. And honestly, I have to say, I didn't see this movie because I'm not a huge Muppets fan after I grew up. Because I loved the Muppets when I was a kid, the cartoons and stuff, but as an adult, did not watch any of the Muppet films. And in this film, you finally realize that Gonzo, from all the Muppet Babies characters, or the Muppets, is not an animal. Like Kermit the Frog, Miss Piggy, Fozzie the Bear, they're all animals. But Gonzo is actually an alien. Wow. Yes, an alien. So now you guys know he's an alien. And we're celebrating Countdown to Christmas. So here's Kool and the Gang with Celebration from the Muppets from Space soundtrack. Welcome back to The Drive-In. I'm your host, Brian, in the studio right now. And earlier, the opening song, Muppets from Space soundtrack, Celebration, was actually requested from Ong Ni. So just wanted to mention that. Thank you, Ong Ni, for a great request. And right now, I want to let you guys know how to get in contact with us in the studio. You can simply call the studio at 02-778-1013 or send us a text at sharp 1013 for a charge of 51, or email us, that's a tongue twister for me every day, at efmdrivin@gmail.com. That's efmdrivin@gmail.com, or simply send us a tweet at efmdrivin. And make sure your requests are from a movie or TV show. They can't be any pop track or Christmas track. Right now it's the Christmas season, but they must have been played in a TV show or a movie. Remember that. And now it's time for the scene of the day. All right, y'all know that all Christmas movies aren't all that great. And the one I'm going to be talking about today isn't that terrible, but it was on a list of top 10 worst Christmas movies ever. Yes, and I don't totally agree with this because as a child, I remember seeing this movie and I enjoyed it. But that's as a child. But if I see it again right now, I'm pretty sure I'd be very disappointed. And I think a lot of people who just thought it was cheesy only because of the storyline and the characters that was in this movie. The idea of the story. It's about a toy and whatnot. And it starred Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad. I don't know if you remember Sinbad. Yes. He was in a lot of shows back there in the 90s, I believe, in the 80s. And it only got 70% on Rotten Tomatoes. So I don't always agree with this rating system, but if it gets under 20%, I usually don't watch the movies. Usually if it's over 20%, I'll watch it and end up liking it. But it's only 17%, so it's up to you guys. If you guys want to watch it, go ahead. And the film is called Jingle All the Way, and it was made in 1996. And it starred Arnold Schwarzenegger, who plays a workaholic father who never has time for his son, Jamie. And after missing his karate class, where he passes his purple belt test, Jamie's angry at his dad. Who wouldn't be? Your dad missed your class. That's not too great. So dad decides to make it up somehow. So let's take a listen.
Whoever doesn't is going to be a real loser.
Well, it definitely won't be you.
Thanks, Dad. I love you.
Oh, I love you too, Jamie. I love you.
I'm so jealous of Jamie because, see, the problem growing up because my dad was really strict and he wouldn't let me have toys and stuff like that. And when Christmas came around, I got like socks. Yeah, so Jamie, you're lucky. Anyway, the problem here is Jamie's in love with this one expensive toy, I'm assuming. And it's a terrible idea, but this is where it sets the movie. And it turns out that the Turbo Man action figure is so popular that everyone is fighting to get it at the stores. And calm down, people. It's just a toy. I don't get that, people running to, toy stores and getting their kids these certain action figures that they want during Christmas or any holiday. And the whole rest of the movie, Arnold is traveling from store to store trying to find this Turbo Man. And Sinbad, who plays a mailman, is also trying to get one for his kids. So they keep preventing each other from getting one. They keep bumping into each other and kind of fighting each other off. And neither of them can get one. And it's pretty interesting that in this movie came out in 1996. Because that same year, I don't know if you guys know about this very famous toy. It was called Tickle Me Elmo. That doll came out, and parents were going crazy over this toy. And the toy's original price was only about $30. But stores realized how popular the toy was, and some sold it for as much as $1,500. That's $1,500. Stupid parents, why would you spend that much money on a doll that just laughs? It's kind of creepy if you think about it. I wouldn't want one of those weird, scary Elmo dolls. And in fact, one Walmart employee in Canada was stampeded by 300 people as a result, and he pulled a hamstring, injured his back, jaw, knee, broke a rib, had a concussion. It's just like the Black Friday sales in America too. It's crazy. Toys, sales, just to save like $1 or $2. Do not do that. People, it's just a toy. It's just Christmas. Christmas is more about love, not giving material things to each other. Anyways, back to the movie. I think it's safe to say that this was not one of the best films ever made, but it was fun for kids. It was fun for me as a kid to watch. And the child actor who played Arnold's son was Jake Lloyd, who later played Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, which is decidedly another terrible movie. Yes, not really into the Star Wars movies myself anyway. So let's hear a song from Jingle All the Way, Run, Rudolph, Run by Chuck Berry. That was Chuck Berry with Run, Rudolph, Run. Now, coming up on today's show, it's Tuesday, so that means Jason B will be joining me in the studio to talk about Korean films today. And that's right after intermission, so stick around for that. Do not change the dial. But before that, we have another great song. And this song comes from one of my favorite animated films of all time as a child. And it was released in 1986. So that would be, I was about 5 or 6 years old back then in America. It was called The American Tale, and it tells the story of a family of mice immigrating to the U.S. from Russia on a boat. And the mouse son, Fievel, can't even say his name right because I saw such a young age. Fievel gets washed overboard, and spends the rest of the film looking for his family. Isn't that cute? A lot of people actually mistook this for a Disney animated film, but it wasn't. It wasn't a Disney animated film, and it was actually done by Don Bluth Studio. Yes. Bluth had originally been a Disney animator, but left the company to start his own studio in 1979. And that's why so many of his movies seem like they're done by Disney, because he used to work for him. Anyways, this song that we'll be listening to is called Somewhere Out There. And it was a pretty big hit in 1986, winning a Grammy Award as well. And this was actually requested by Katie. So check it out, Somewhere Out There. Once again, that was Somewhere Out There from the American Tale original soundtrack. I know there's a pop version of this song with I forget the artist's name, but that version is great as well. But listening to the actual little mouse sing this version is so cute. Somewhere. It's like, I love it when I hear Disney or any animated film out there and they use like the kids' voices. It's just so very touching and moving and so cute. Yes. And I recommend that you guys see this movie because I saw this as a child and it was fun. Anywhere from the ages of 5 to, I guess, 12. I'm pretty sure you guys will enjoy this movie. Even adults, they enjoy this movie very much so. And now I want to go straight into the next song request. And the next song comes from The Love Story. Or a love story film, not The Love Story. And it came out in 1970. It was a number 9 on the American Film Institute's list of romantic movies. And it is also the first film that Tommy Lee Jones, we all know him, he acted in. But in this film, he wasn't the main character. He played a minor role. It was a story about a rich Harvard University student from an upper-class family who falls in love with a working-class girl who attends Radcliffe University. We know this story. A lot of people know the story about the rich guy and his poor girl, or the other way around. There's a lot of love stories like that. And I haven't seen this movie, but I recommend you guys see it because it was number 9 on the American Film Institute's list of romantic movies. It's got to be good. So, basically, it's like a 70s version of Romeo and Juliet. And if you've ever seen that movie, it's a pretty good movie. I liked it. Anyways, this song is called Snow Frolic, and it was arranged by Francis Blythe, so let's check it out. Welcome back to The Drive-In. Now it's time for K-Film Tuesday with Jason Beschervais. Yes, and he's in the studio right now with me. What's up, Jason?
Hey, how's it going? I wish I could respond to that, with a song, but...
You know what? You're more than welcome to. Don't be
no,
shy.
I think everyone will turn the radio off if I do that.
No, Mike does it. Olivia does it. Christina hasn't done it yet, but Mike and Olivia do it all the time. They just make stuff up. I'm just going to say Mike doesn't sound like he's a musical person, but he tries. He tries. He makes an effort. But yes, you brought an amazing Korean film with you today as well.
Yes, I did. I've brought Mother, or Mada is in is Korean title.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely adore this film. It's it was my best film of 2009. That was when it's released. It's directed by Bong Joon-ho, who is my favorite Korean film director. He really is. He's been a massive influence on me. And I just adore his films. He's made films like Barking Dogs Never Bite, Memories of Murder, Saturday Night Chuok, which is my favorite Korean movie.
That's a great film.
Yes. And The Host as well, 2006. Gamul. And this stars Kim Hye-ja, who plays the mother in this movie. She was in some films and dramas too. She was in the original Late Autumn Manchu in 1981. And it stars Won Bin. It also stars Won Bin. Who's, well, he doesn't really need an introduction, really. He's been in a whole list of movies, very popular ones too.
He's the heartthrob of Korea, pretty much, for the girls.
Absolutely, very, very popular man, that guy. Even in the celebrity community, I gather he's extremely popular.
Yes.
He's in the movies like The Man from Nowhere, or Ajashi as it's otherwise known as, or Taegukgi as well, and Guns and Talks. In 2001, also stars Tingu, and who's in the movie that's out in cinemas at the moment, 26 Years, and stars Yoon Jae-min. And in terms of the synopsis or the story of the movie, it follows a mother who's been widowed for a long time, and she lives alone with her only son. Now, he is 28 years old, a shy and quiet young man, and in the aftermath of a terrible murder, the woman's hopeless, helpless son becomes the prime suspect. And there is no real evidence against him, but the police throw groundless suspicion at him. Eager to close the case, the police are happy with their cursory investigation and arrest the boy. His defense attorney turns out to be, well, incompetent and unreliable. Faced with no other choice, his mother gets involved, determined to prove her son's innocence. So this is kind of a bit of a murder mystery in some sense. I don't know if any of you out there know Alfred Hitchcock. He's a very famous...
Of course. Well, I don't know if the listeners do, but of course I know who he is.
Alfred Hitchcock, massively famous. Sadly, he's not around anymore, but he made films like Rear Window, Psycho, and just an amazing film director. Anyway, I think there's a real kind of Hitchcock kind of aspect to this movie in terms of especially the music and its overall kind of suspense and that kind of thing. So it's kind of a mixture of... It's a very Korean movie, but at the same time it has this kind of Hitchcock aspect, which I quite liked. This movie is just, stupendous. I think it's the best word I can use to describe it. Bong Joon-ho is, like I say, my favourite film director. He represents what's so good about Korean cinema, making an entertaining and incredibly engaging film, while also having serious depth to the topics he addresses. I mean, this film just left me speechless. I actually watched this in London, I think back in 2009, because it was released it premiered in the London Film Festival. And I was watching it with my wife, and I just said that was just a phenomenal movie. I was just left speechless. And, there's a number of reasons why this film is so good. He refuses to conform to one genre.
Okay.
And that's characteristic of many Korean films. I mean, this film's a thriller. It's a kind of social documentary. It's a film about the relationship between a mother and a son. And, I'm married to a Korean wife, and I get to see my mother-in-law and how she reacts. And it's quite different from the way my mother reacts. I can't really explain it, but it is...
Very different culture.
It's very, very different culture. My mum loves me, and, my wife's mother loves my wife, of course. But the love is just translated differently. It's quite interesting. And this movie kind of looks at that relationship. And there are also elements of kind of bizarreness, but they somehow make sense. And then you have the cinematography, which is just superb. The cinematography in this film is just incredible. And then you have the terrific performances by the two leads. Kim Hye-ja, now I think her performance in this movie warrants an Academy Award nomination. Like, seriously, why was this actress never nominated? I'll never know. I mean, her performance in this film is just sensational. I just thought she characterized the film as a whole, just with a wonderful performance as the lead, and then Wonbin as well. I mean, Wonbin is often associated as the heartthrob, this kind of masculine guy. In this movie, he plays a very simple character, a character with learning difficulties, and he just portrays, the characteristics of this particular character extremely well. And then you have the music. Now, I'm not exaggerating here. The composer, he's quite famous in Korea, Lee Byung-woo. He writes one of the best scores I've ever heard.
Okay.
Listen to it. I think we're going to play a bit of music from the soundtrack shortly. He's just a genius, and I love listening to his music. I was listening to it on the internet last night, and it just takes my breath away. And one of the reasons I love this film is because of the soundtrack, and the closing credits are just fantastic.
Alrighty, then right now we'll play that for you guys right now. This is from the Mother original soundtrack. And this is actually scored by Lee Byung-woo, right?
Yeah,
your favorite.
Beautiful beautiful kind of guitar melodies. I'm no musician, but it just really sums up what a terrific film this is just by listening to the soundtrack.
Alrighty, well, he's a famous guitarist and a composer. So here is the theme song from Mother. Wow, that's really pretty. I love songs like that because it puts you in a nice, relaxed state.
I don't know how he composed it. It just took my. Maybe I'm sounding overly dramatic, but it just took my breath away. Like when I listened to the soundtrack, it just like I was sitting in the seat in the theater, and I was just like, this music just so beautiful.
That's how I feel about
captures the
lot
movie.
of the Lord of the Rings soundtracks and Harry Potter. I always wonder, like, how do composers come up with this idea? It fits the movie so well.
I don't know. I'm no musician, so I guess they got some part of the brain that I don't have.
You're a great dancer, though.
I'm a great dancer?
Yes.
No.
I was saying over the weekend, on Friday last week, we had like a family gathering of the drive-in staff and crew and everybody. And afterwards, we went for a little dancing, a little hip-hop music, and Mr. Jason B. showed us his moves. You're a pretty good dancer.
Yes. Oh dear, I had a horrible feeling that might come up today.
No, I'm not making fun of you. I thought you did great. I hate when people go to a place like that and they're just stiff. They don't do nothing. They just look around and look bored. But you look like you had a great time, which was actually made me have a good time as well.
Okay, well, thank you. That means a lot.
Yes.
Maybe next time I'll dance even more.
Next time if we have a drive-in,
I'll flex my muscles.
Well, next time if we have a drive-in open studio performance thing, we'll definitely have Jason B, Mike, Olivia, and fortunately Christina won't be with us next time. But yes, all the other rest, they'll do like a little boy band smash up and do like a dance and song or something.
We should make a music video.
Oh, that'd be fun. Let's see how many hits we get online. That'd be so much fun. But right now we're still talking about films, and now it's time to talk about the films that are out this week.
Yeah, the first film I'm going to talk about, well, the main movie, I guess, or one of the main movies this weekend, is Marrying the Mafia 5, Return of the Family, Gamone Yongkwan 5.
They're coming out a new one, wow.
Okay, now for those of you who don't know, this is a part of a series. They made the first Marrying the Mafia film back in 2002. That was directed by Jung Hung-sun, a very popular movie. And then there was Marrying the Mafia 2, Marrying the Mafia 3, Marrying the Mafia 4, and now there's Marrying the Mafia 5. Now, I've actually seen all these films because I quite like them. I like the first. I like basically, they're a guilty pleasure. They're not the best films you'll ever see. But there's something that's very, very funny about them. They're basically gangster movies, but they're very funny, so they're comedies.
Comedic gangster movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And so I didn't like the last one. I thought Marrying the Mafia 4 pretty much sucked, but I didn't like it.
I was gonna say Marrying Mafia 4 was a good movie, but I don't want to lie. It was kind of the humor wasn't all that,
It was just daft.
But
I think
the reason why I can't say that on air is because one of my close friends are in the movie, and she would kill me if she heard me say this online or on air. I mean, not online.
Oh dear. Well,
the Japanese tour guide girl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. 미안해. 너 때문에 갔는데 그렇게 재미있진 않았어.
Yes. But I'm actually quite optimistic about this. Well, relatively, I'm not very optimistic. But it's directed by Jung Young-gi, and now he directed Singles, which I really, really liked. Actually, that was a kind of romantic comedy. from last year. I really liked that film. And he also directed the second and third Marrying the Mafia films, and those ones I quite enjoyed, particularly the second one. So I think it'd be quite funny. He's definitely a gifted director, and actually, in terms of the story for this one, it actually goes back to the cast of the first movie. Now, basically, the cast is the same for the second, third, and fourth films, but the first one is different. And now this movie goes back to the original cast. So it's 10 years after Marrying the Mafia 1, the 3Js established basically an architecture company and have become well known. It's become a well-known business, and they hold pens instead of fists in their hands, but things still happen around them, and now even bother their children. So so that movie is going to be out this week. Also going on release is Love 911 or Banchang Ko, directed by Jung Gi-hoon. I actually saw this movie. I'm not going to say any more than that. But it's
wow. You know when Jason doesn't want to talk about a movie, you know what that means?
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, it's a story about two people whose jobs are to save others, recognizing each other's pain and healing each other. And this is directed by Jung Gi-hoon. He directed Eja, which was made in 2009, and it stars Go-soo from The Front Line and Han Hyo-ju from Always and Masquerade, and it also stars Ma Dong-sok as well from Perfect Game. So there's some comedies out this weekend. I suspect Marrying the Mafia 5 will probably be more popular, but we'll have to wait and see. So definitely, I'm going to check it out. I mean, even if it's bad. So it's got the original cast from the original movie, although this movie stars Kim Min-jung, who's not in the original film.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, with that said, would you rather see that movie? I know this movie isn't a Korean film, or The Hobbit? Hard decision.
There you go. I mean, I'll be watching The Hobbit, and Les Miserables is also out this week as well.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
That's real?
Les Miserables.
I gotta go see that. I'm all excited now.
You gotta see that.
I'm gonna see that. I dreamed a dream of days gone by. I can't sing it too high. It's a girl's key. All right, with that said, we gotta wrap up with Jason. Thank you for coming in as always.
You're very welcome.
We're gonna play a song from the Marrying Mafia 5 original soundtrack. This is 장미여관, 청춘 남녀. Well, thank you, Jason. I'll see you next week.
See you next week.
All right, the next song is a request from 3442 from the Home Alone 2 soundtrack. And Home Alone 2 came out in 1992. And this is, instead of the Chicago suburbs, this movie took place in New York City. And Kim finds himself alone in New York. So we talked about this movie in depth before with Olivia a while back. So check it out on podcast if you haven't. And we'll talk about all the details there. So just check it out. So this song is Silver Bells by Atlantic Star. Once again, that was a request from 3442 from the Home Alone 2 soundtrack, and that was Atlantic Star with Silver Bells. And right now, it's unfortunately time to wrap up the show. I know our show is very short, but stick around because 101.3 Main Street with An Jung-hyun is next, and she has a very, very great show set up for you guys today. We're going to actually end today's show with a request from Claire, who wants to hear a song from the 1971 film Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Not the newest version, but the 1971 version. And the song is from the end when the flying elevator called the Wonkavator is involved. So definitely check this movie out if you haven't seen the original. Not the one with Johnny Depp, but this old school one. And the title of the song is called Wonkavator. And it's the end title, so make sure to check it out. This is for Claire. This is Brian Ju signing off, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for Musical Wednesdays. Peace!